Everyone's talking about what AI is going to do. But what if the biggest changes are the ones we can't even see? In this explainer, we're going to uncover these hidden ripple effects, first by looking at how AI agents can create total chaos when they work together. And then we're going to turn that same lens on our own economy.
Okay, so you know what one AI can do, right? You use them all the time. Maybe you ask it to help you write an email, or you're looking for some info, or maybe it's helping you debug some code. It's this awesome, powerful assistant, just working one-on-one with you. But what happens when it's not just one-on-one anymore? What happens when we have millions of them, an internet of agents, all trying to work together? I mean, picture it. Millions of AIs from all these different companies, all trying to manage something insanely complex, like a global supply chain. The potential is just huge. But, you guessed it, so is the potential for absolute total chaos.
And right there, that's the central puzzle we're looking at. You can have every single AI agent making what looks like a perfectly smart decision on its own, but the group, as a whole, it can end up doing something incredibly dumb. It's this massive, massive coordination problem, and frankly, our current systems just aren't built to deal with it.
All right, so let's dive into that chaos, starting at the micro level. Why is it that adding more smart agents can sometimes make the entire system, dumber? It all boils down to one thing: how they talk to each other.
See, right now, these agents can communicate, sure, but they can't really coordinate. It's like they're all speaking the same language but have no idea how to work on a team project. They get stuck in these endless loops, just passing tasks back and forth, never getting anything done. And this leads to something called the bullwhip effect. Think about it. A tiny little change in customer demand at a store. That little whisper gets louder and louder as it travels up the supply chain until it's a deafening roar by the time it hits the manufacturer, causing them to overorder like crazy. It's chaos.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. The problem is that these agents are basically just shouting their final decisions at each other. It's like the retailer agent just yells, "I'm ordering 100 units." That's it. No context, no flexibility. So the whole system becomes super brittle because it's missing that nuance, that give and take of real teamwork.
Okay, so how do you fix this? Well, a group of researchers came up with a pretty brilliant solution. They developed a whole new language for AI agents to speak. It's called the Ripple Effect Protocol, or REP for short. And the whole point is to build that missing teamwork directly into the way they communicate.
And the difference is just night and day. Look at this. The old way is just a static command. I'm ordering 120 units. Period. But the new way, with REP, it's a dynamic strategy. It's not just here's what I'm doing, it's here's what I would do if things changed. It's all about sharing your flexibility.
The magic word here is sensitivities. Just think of them as these little what-if signals. By sharing these, an agent basically gives all its neighbors a little peek behind the curtain, a glimpse into its own logic and its own limitations. And suddenly, the whole group can actually see the potential ripple effects before they happen.
So how does this actually create stability? Well, it's pretty straightforward. First, the agents broadcast their flexibility, those what-ifs. Then their neighbors collect all these signals and piece them together, kind of like a puzzle, to see the big picture. And with that bigger picture, the whole group can tell the difference between a little bit of noise and a genuine trend. This stops those massive overreactions, that bullwhip effect, dead in its tracks.
But, the big question is, does it actually work in practice? Well, they tested it in this classic simulation called the beer game, which is literally designed to create supply chain chaos. And the results? They were absolutely stunning. Reps slashed the total supply chain costs by nearly 42%. That's huge. It took this famously unstable system and just made it work.
Okay, so let's pause for a second. We've just seen that for AIs to work together without creating a total mess, they need a new way to see these hidden ripples. And that got me thinking, what about us? Let's zoom out. We're going to pivot from this micro world of AI agents to the macro world of the entire human economy.
I mean, think about it. If individual AI agents are blind to the ripple effects they're causing, are we humans really any better? When we think about policymakers or business leaders trying to understand AI's impact on the workforce, how well are we really seeing the whole picture?
And the answer, it turns out, is not well at all. In fact, it's kind of shocking. When researchers looked at all our standard economic tools, GDP, income, unemployment rates, they found that these things explain less than 5% of where AI is actually impacting the workforce. Less than 5%. We are basically flying blind here.
And here's why that's such a massive problem. All our official tools are what you'd call lagging indicators. They only show us a problem after it's already happened. So by the time the official surveys ring the alarm bell, it's too late. We end up trying to create policies for skills that have already been displaced or for industries that have already been totally transformed.
So you can see the parallel, right? Just like those AI agents needed a new language to see the ripples, we need a new metric to see what's coming. We need a forward-looking tool that can show us that hidden mass of AI's impact before it hits the surface. And that's exactly what the Iceberg Index is all about.
So what is the Iceberg Index? Now, it's really important to understand this isn't about predicting, oh, this specific job is going away. It's a measure of technical exposure. What it does is super clever. It breaks down every single job into all the little skills that make it up. Then it maps where AI's current abilities overlap with those human skills, and it weighs that overlap by how much those skills are worth in wages. Basically, it's a map of the hidden economic ripples.
And when you use that map, boom, this is what we've been missing. The bar on the left, that's the surface index. That's the tip of the iceberg, right? The stuff we read about in the headlines. AI hitting tech jobs. That's about 2.2% of wage value. But then look at the full iceberg index. It shows us the hidden story, the massive exposure in white-collar jobs, things like administration, finance. That's almost 12% of wage value. We're talking about over $1 trillion.
So the big takeaway here is just mind-blowing. The part of the iceberg that's hidden under the water is 5 times bigger than the part we can see. And here's the kicker. Unlike that visible tech disruption that's all clustered in places like Silicon Valley, this hidden risk is spread all across the entire country.
And this creates what the researchers perfectly named the automation surprise. We all expect to see AI disruption in big tech hubs, Washington, California, right? But the hidden exposure, which is the much larger piece of the puzzle, is actually highest in places you wouldn't expect. States like South Dakota, North Carolina, Utah, and Ohio, all because they have these huge administrative and financial job sectors.
So what this tells us is that there is a gigantic blind spot in our thinking. There's a real danger that a lot of places are preparing for the wrong kind of disruption. They're focused on the visible tech stuff, while this much bigger wave of white-collar transformation is quietly building right underneath the surface.
So let's just tie these two stories together neatly. It's really two sides of the same coin. For the AI agents, the problem is collective chaos. Their tool to fix it, the ripple effect protocol. Their goal, better coordination. For us, for our economies, the problem is hidden economic risk. Our tool, the Iceberg Index. And our goal, way better preparation.
You see, the lesson is exactly the same, whether you're talking about machines or people. If we want to navigate this incredibly complex new era of AI, we all need new ways of seeing. Both our machines and our societies need tools that can peel back the layers and show us those hidden connections, those invisible ripple effects that our choices create.
The good news is, we're starting to build these tools. We have ways to see the massive, hidden story that's unfolding just beyond our normal vision. So I guess the only question left is, are we actually ready to look beneath the surface?